So also, why is it important? Or why is it that I say that Christianity then is the hope of sub-Saharan Africa? Just looking at the demographics, you find that currently we're having about 50% of sub-Saharan Africa being Christians. So if we are to develop an African renaissance that is poised for true development, we cannot ignore Christianity, because Christianity is now a very prominent informant of our value systems. So we cannot think of a development agenda for Africa that excludes Christianity. By virtue of the demographics, where we are having 50% of the population of Sub-Saharan Africa being Christians one way or the other, or by one definition or the other. And it is projected that by 2050, about 59% of Sub-Saharan Africa will actually be Christian. And you see that the proportion of the ethnic and traditional adherents of the religious African traditional religion continues to get smaller as Islam and Christianity continue to expand and to grow within Africa. So it only makes sense that if we are to develop a common moral development plan or framework for Africa, that it takes into account Christianity, that it be founded on Christian values, on Christian principles. And the more deliberate about this, the more deliberate we are about integrating Christianity into every way of life, the more deliberate we are about reconnecting, re-emphasizing, and indeed calling for the evident manifestation of Christianity, of a Christianity that embodies the moral and ethical conduct of Christian teaching, the more we can impact our societies. So friends, my submission to us this afternoon is that we need to adopt a transformative Christian theology. We need to adopt a transformative Christian theology. And this transformative Christian theology needs to be founded or built upon these elements of a moral vision for development. I'm just going to speak of 4 elements here. The list is exhaustive, but I'm going to speak and to emphasize these 4 as I feel they are very foundational to us developing a transformative Christian theology. The first one is a positive self-identity. So Africans with a positive self-identity rooted in Christ can develop into the kinds of individuals and leaders who will make transformational impact on the continent. We need to develop an identity that is founded on who we are in God, that is founded on our understanding that we are indeed made in the image of God, that we are not inferior, just as no other human being is inferior. And Psalm 139, verse 13 to 14 says, "For you are created, for you and wonderfully made, and know that full well." So as we get to appreciate that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, as we move from that place where we are constantly need to reaffirm our identity, where we are constantly need to explain our worth and our value, but we just establish our identity on what God says of us, on whom God says we are. And Ephesians 2:10 says, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works which God prepared in advance for us to do." So as we adopt a positive self-identity grounded in Christ, rooted in our identity in Christ, you find that we are then better placed even to engage within the global landscape. We are better placed to influence even the global community as Africans. We need to stop from continuing to bear with us an apologetic approach to our identity. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. And as we build our moral vision on a positive self-identity, we lay a strong foundation for who we are and what we can do and what God has created us to do as Africans.